Every Tuesday for 9 years, Dora carried a folding chair half a mile uphill in the dark to a room that already had 60 chairs in it. Dora is 58. She sings alto in a small community choir at the very end of the back row, half tucked behind a pillar. Terrence runs that choir. He is 64, and he has watched her carry that chair up the hill in rain and in snow every week for 9 years. He knew exactly why she did it. He had known since the very first night, and it took him 9 years to say it out loud. This is what happened on the last Tuesday that choir ever met in that hall. It begins the way it always begins. Dora arrives 20 minutes early because arriving on time might mean somebody waiting for her.
Sorry, am I too early?
You are never too early. You are the only reason the heating is ever on.
Sorry, I will keep out of your way.
There is nobody in her way. The hall is empty. It is Terrence, Dora, and a radiator ticking itself warm.
You can put that down, you know. There are 60 chairs stacked right there.
Oh, I have got mine. It is no trouble.
It is trouble. It is half a mile uphill in November with a chair. Years ago, Terrence started counting. Not to be unkind. He wanted to know whether he was imagining it. In 90 minutes, Dora said sorry 22 times.
Sorry for asking which bar they were on. Sorry for a cough. Sorry for a question about the timing that turned out to be the right question.
You just apologized for being right.
Did I? Sorry.
She heard it as it left her. The whole choir laughed, and she laughed too, and then she looked at the floor until the laughing had finished.
Here is something true about that word, and it genuinely surprised me.
Sorry comes from an Old English word, serig. It did not mean I am at fault. It meant sore, full of pain.
For most of its long life, the word was not a confession. It was a description of how you felt.
Somewhere along the way, a great many of us started using it to apologize for being in a room.
Terrence asked her about the chair once, in the car park, after everybody else had gone home.
Can I ask you something that is none of my business?
Those are usually the good ones.
The chair. Why do you bring it?
Because there was not one. The first night. That was 9 years ago.
Yes.
And you have brought your own every single week since.
It seemed easier than being the reason somebody had to go and fetch one. Terrence did not answer that for a while. Out on the main road, a car went past, and the sound of it got smaller.
I grew up in a 2-bedroom flat with 3 brothers. My mum worked nights.
The rule in our house was never be good. It was do not be in the way.
I got very good at it. The way people get good at the piano.
That is a lot of practice.
38 years.
Then there was Peter, 21 years of marriage, and he left 11 years ago in the spring.
When Peter went, the flat felt enormous, and I kept sitting on one end of the sofa.
Which end?
The end I had always sat on. There was nobody on the other end for 2 years, and I never once moved across.
That is what it actually looks like. Not drama. A woman on one cushion of a sofa she owns outright. In the spring, the hall was sold. The choir would move up the road to a room above a supermarket with a hired keyboard and no radiator that ticks. So the last Tuesday came, and everybody knew it.
Dora, I want you at the front for the last one.
Oh, no, the front is for the good ones.
You have been at the back for 9 years.
That is where I am useful.
Terrence put his pencil down.
Can I tell you something I should have told you 9 years ago?
That sounds serious.
The first night you came, the chairs were in the store cupboard.
There were not enough out.
There were plenty. I had the key in my pocket and I forgot to unlock it. It was my mistake, Dora. Mine. And you have carried it up that hill every week for 9 years.
You could have just told me.
I know.
Why did you not?
Because after the first year it was not about a chair anymore, and I did not know how to say the other thing.
What other thing?
That you had decided you were the one who could do without.
She stood very still in the middle of a hall she had been apologizing to for 9 years. Space she was completely allowed to occupy.
I am not important to it. I fill in the middle.
The middle is the sound. Take the middle out and the whole thing goes thin, and everybody hears it.
But that is not why I want you at the front.
Then why?
Because I would like to look up and see you. Not because you are useful. Because it is you.
Being needed and being wanted are two very different things, and a great many people are only ever offered the first one. Taped inside her music folder, flat against the cardboard, there is a small card in her own handwriting. It has been there since the week Peter left.
What is that?
A line from a poem. Walt Whitman. I copied it out 11 years ago.
Read it to me.
I exist as I am, that is enough.
She had read that card every Tuesday for 11 years and never once believed it.
I have been reading it like a bill I had not paid.
Then Terrence walked to the stack, lifted off one of the hall's own chairs, carried it to the front row, and set it down. He did not say anything else. He put it there and went back to the piano. Dora stood by the door for a moment with her folding chair still under her arm. Then she leaned it against the wall, folded, and left it there. And she sat down in a chair she had not brought.
9 years, and about 4 seconds.
It is very comfortable.
It is a terrible chair.
It is the best one in the room.
They sang the last piece with Dora in the front row, and the middle of the sound was exactly where it had always been, only closer. Nobody made a fuss of it afterwards. That was the kindness. When the hall was locked for the last time, her folding chair was still leaning by the door. She left it there on purpose.
You have a chair too. Not a real one. Somewhere you quietly decided you were the one who could do without. The smaller half, the later slot, the question you never ask.
And the reason is usually Dora's reason. Nobody ever asked you to. A cupboard went unlocked once, and you have been paying for it ever since.
So here is the one thing for tonight. The next time sorry arrives for something that is not a fault. For being late, for needing a minute, for sitting down. Swap it for thank you. Thank you for waiting. Same warmth. None of the rent.
It will feel wrong the first time. That is only the old habit checking whether you meant it. You did.
Dora left her chair by the door on purpose. Not for the hall. For whoever came next and thought there wasn't one.
You were never the one in the way. Sit down. It was always yours.